G'day. Today I'm going to have a crack at the T51R mod, which is basically just a fancy anti-surge housing to make it whistle. Yeah, that's it just makes it whistle. I had no idea what this was until a couple of weeks ago, but it seems pretty interesting. You can get it done in the States, but for us Aussies the shipping costs more than this whole turbo did, so definitely worth a crack for me. It's a prime quality turbocharger off eBay, which really fills me with confidence. But to be honest, it looks quite good. The casting looks good, it's been balanced, the machining doesn't look too bad at all. I'd say the biggest problem with these turbos is the seller in between you and the factory. I basically had no idea what I was buying. I was up with a T04Z, I think I wanted something much smaller. But anyway, it's still going to go on. That's just some screenshots of like how it's done properly. I'm no turbo expert, but I know a little bit about machining. It seems like the idea is to end up with a roughly 5mm wide sort of slot, instead of just having drilled holes or a huge big anti-surge slot, just a thin little slot, which obviously the turbulence gives it that whistle. It's really only possible for me to machine the sleeve down as far as the first part of the wheel, not the second part where it tapers up, which I don't think is a problem from my basic understanding of anti-surge. It's that the air needs somewhere to go under a surge condition, which I would assume that the smaller part of the wheel would be where the air needs to evacuate first anyway. So it's going to have like a sort of ring around there where the air will be able to evacuate out the front. 360-degree thrust bearing and V-band on the rear housing as well now. The Chinese factories are stepping these things up a bit. They had billet wheel options and everything if you wanted to pony up a few extra dollars. I remember like 5 or 6 years ago they were pretty fucking bad, but this thing doesn't look too bad at all. Guess we'll find out. There we go. Doesn't look too bad at all. That's just the back side of the cover where I'm going to try and machine into. Get that sleeve pressed in there. Biggest problem is it's just way too big for the car I brought it for. Dead stock 1JZ with 300 and something thousand on the clock. But it'll be a fun science project. This is a bit of a science project for me actually. I could fuck this up and waste this compressor housing pretty easy. I really hope that surface machining lines up on a 90-degree angle with that bore machining, because that'll make my job really easy. The first thing I'm going to have to do is clamp it down in the mill really good, because if it moves it'll be a nightmare. and then basically run a little dial indicator down it to make sure that the bore's true. If not, I'm going to have to like shim this up on the mill and try and get it perfectly parallel. Alright, first up, I've got to load up the dial indicator. Two purposes. I've got to make sure up and down there's no unacceptable movement that would mean that bore's not sitting straight. Second reason, I need to find the exact center of this on the X and Y of my table, so that way I can zero it out and make sure I'm still keeping that same center of the bore. Zero all the way, so that's good to start off with. You can see it's heaps out, so I'll just keep adjusting the table until I get it pretty much zeroed out. That's within a bee's dick now. Under 0.1 of a mil the whole way. There's a little bit of guesswork involved in the design, considering I'm not trying to win any engineering awards, just get the job done. But yeah, I'm going for a 5mm wide slot. Going to mill it 52mm deep to start off with and see how that goes, and about a 90mm bore. First pass in, and the biggest problem I can see is this cheesy powdery aluminium not really getting a smooth finish. That's probably going to be the biggest problem with this job. I was kind of concerned if I bored it too deep the thing would just blow apart, which may still be the case. Been creeping up on this 90mm bore for a little while now. I think we're just over 89. And that's pretty much there. It's about as far as I'm comfortable machining into the housing without risking blowing anything apart, considering it's only cheap cast aluminium. One thing I did fuck up already was forget to measure the bore before I milled it out. Not too big of a drama. That's a 66.6 wheel. And I know Garrett recommend about 0.3 of a mil housing clearance. So I'm going to just go for a 67 and run that. That's pretty impressive tolerance for a sub $300 turbo. Trying to design this sleeve in my head was making my brain hurt. So I'm just going to stick it in the lathe and work it out as I go. Tends to work pretty well for me. Ended up redoing my press fit on that side to 90.6 from 90.4. Wasn't quite happy with how it fitted, so I went and re-measured everything properly with a mic. All good now. That's it, right on 67 on the bore scope. So that's both of the critical dimensions done. Now I can relax and just finish off machining the rest of the sleeve. Got the cross slide set up on an angle now. Try and run that nice taper into it. Outside's down to 81 mil, which is about a 4.5 mil anti-surge slot it works out to be. I'm going to leave it at that because it looks about right to my eye, even though it's a little bit meaty there. I think it'll be good. Sleeve just about done. Really happy with that. Came up, I actually had way less headaches than I thought I would. I've just got to mill the actual anti-surge slots into it now. So I'm going to figure out how to do that. Basically just got to mill out everything except the purple bits. I actually need a rotary table I don't have at the moment to scallop those. So I'm going to try and think of another way to do it. This is possibly the most ghetto way to cut the radius. But it's 2 AM on a work night and I've got better things to do. I'll clean it up later. That's the sleeve done. Looks a bit rough, but it's going to do the same job. If this ends up working alright, I'll invest in a rotary table and machine that properly. But yeah, should be right. There you go. T51 housing. Just gotta give it a little bit of clean up. There it is. First attempt at a T51R style housing. Should work alright. Came back with a fresh mind and ended up taking another 0.2 of a mil out of the bore because I felt the blades were a bit too tight, not enough clearance. Also added a set screw up there to stop the sleeve from vibrating its way out down the track. It's never going to be as nice as one of the CNC machine ones out of the States. And I haven't taken into account area of anti-surge or laminar flow, anything like that. I've just basically made it similar to what I know works. Learned a few things from making mistakes on this one that should make it quicker and easier to make a better one next time. So this one's going to get thrown on my Sora for a science project. I'll put a vid up shortly when I convert it to single.